Hey, everybody. Welcome to our latest with Laura. And tonight we have Barbara Stolz, our special guest. And let's get started. I know we have new people here. It's so exciting. So let's just talk about for a few minutes what are redox signaling molecules? What is in this amazing blue bottle? So redox signaling molecules. Hang on. My husband has done this. Thank you so much, Kurt. And if there is somebody watching this who isn't normally getting our text invitations, you can scan that QR code or text the word ASEA to 802-203-2800, and you'll automatically receive invitations to our little Sunday night Zooms, maybe
It's
some other.
8,200.
Hmm?
It's
The
8,200.
phone,
What did I
the phone
say?
number, the
You said
last four
28. Okay.
digits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beth.
Welcome.
8200. Okay. So what are redox signaling molecules? They are an exact replication of something that is in every single one of your cells, or it should be. Your mitochondria make it every single moment of the day. If you could probably go for 3 weeks without food and maybe 3 days without water and maybe 3 minutes without oxygen, you cannot last for 3 seconds without your redox signaling molecules. And so this is better than all natural. All naturals like blueberries and lemons. This is native to your cells. You can never have too much of this. More is always better. Every decade that you age, you're making about 10% less once you get into your 20s. And this is just a bioreplenishment. It's just giving you back what you should be making. And it is the most fundamental thing in your body that helps your cells communicate and heal. So it is the communication system for your cells. It amplifies, it clarifies signals between and within your cells. So they're just talking to each other better. And that way kind of wakes up the inner doctor in your cells and makes them go, oh, there's an issue that we have to deal with. So it helps your cells detect, repair, replace damaged cells. It is going to boost antioxidants. So glutathione, superoxide dismutase goes way, way up. If we want to get nerdy about it, it's because this turns on gene EGR1, which affects the NRF2 pathway. That makes your antioxidants kind of wake up and get to work. You can have so many endogenous antioxidants in your body. They're worthless unless the redox signaling molecules gives them the signal and turns them on. So anyway, basically what that does is it fortifies your immune system. You don't have to be a germaphobe. And then what I really love is it turns on genes for your cardiac system, your immune system, your inflammatory system, your digestive system, and your hormone modulation. We've got the drink that heals you from the inside out on a systemic level. We've got the gel. It's basically the exact same thing, just so much more concentrated than this. This heals you from the outside in. So this, you smear the goo on you, dresses discomfort and all sorts of health issues. We don't make any claims that this is a cure or treatment, but without a doubt, it does empower your cells to work better and heal faster. Every health challenge involves cells. And now, without further ado, let's turn it over to the star of tonight, is Barbara Stolz. And Barbara, thank you so much for being here. Let's shift the spotlight to you. She's got an amazing story. So, what is your ASEA story, Barbara?
Well, Laura, thank you so much for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to be in your presence. You always make me giggle. Um, I got introduced to this industry back in January of 1996, and I have just been so excited ever since. And so much so that the last company I was with, which was many years ago, I was actually able to afford to be a single stay-at-home mom for 3 years without having to really do anything because of passive residual income. So if people really want time freedom, this industry is what it's all about. But there were some challenges with the company, so I left and was fortunate back in April of 2016. A friend left a note on my door. And Laura, it said, Barbara, come to my house Thursday night. Bring some friends. I have something important to share with you. Love, Jaren. P.S. I'll have food. Well, I knew Jaren was a good cook, so I brought a couple friends, And that night changed my life forever, Laura. You see, I was in a room of about probably 15 people, and Jerry White, who's on the medical advisory board with our company, was there, as well as another gentleman who was used to be a top pharmaceutical sales rep was there. And they shared some important information about redox technology. And the thing that really got me excited was they played a video called the ASEA Genesis. And you can find it on YouTube, and make sure you watch the long version. It's amazing. And I got started that evening, and this technology within 2 weeks, I used to be a restaurant manager. Within 2 weeks, helped me with mental clarity, better sleep, more energy, and I didn't have back discomfort anymore. So those four things out of the gate, it helped me with. So that was pretty exciting. And then in 2017, I had a female surgery that I was told I was going to be on bed rest for 6 to 8 weeks. And so I had my refrigerator stocked. I had my books by my bed. I was all ready to go, Laura. But what happened was my surgery was on a Thursday morning, and I took my products with me to the hospital. I had them loud and proud right by my nightstand, on my nightstand. And that first evening after surgery, I elected not to do any pain meds. And that evening, I was able to walk the corridor. My pain was really high, but I still did it anyway. The second day, I was able to walk the corridor and up and down a half a flight of steps. And then the third morning, they sent me home. And by probably the fourth or fifth day, my pain threshold dropped to about a 3. And 10 days after my surgery, which was Mother's Day, I woke up pain free. So it was a pretty decent Mother's Day. And everybody told me to stay in bed, but there was a party at a friend's house and I wanted to go. And so I went to this party, and they were all babying me. They all wanted me to relax. And I was fine, but I decided, you know what? I'm just going to lay in this lounge chair outside, enjoy the sunshine, and let people wait on me, which is not me at all. I'm usually the hostess with the mostest. So, so we got through those 10 days and went on my merry way. And then in March of 2019, I elected to do what was called Mohs surgery because I had a challenge on my left cheek. And that challenge wouldn't go away. When I first got it, I was pretty excited because I thought, oh, got these great products. They're going to take care of it right away. And I was just all jacked. And then it didn't go away, didn't go away, didn't go away. And so my little mini me's were like, these products don't work. These products don't work. But because of the science, because of the other testimonies, and because of everything I had learned about these products, I knew they were doing something. So I reached out to Jerry White and I'm like, Jerry, why isn't this going away? He goes, Barb, these molecules go to the areas that need it the most. I'm going to repeat that. These molecules go to the areas that need it the most. And my family has a huge history of challenges, let's just put it that way, that are bigger than what was on my face. So I believe those molecules were going to those areas to prevent me from having those issues. And then when I elected to do the Mohs surgery, they cut a hole larger than a silver dollar, went 3 layers deep, sutured me up. And Beth, can you show them what I look like? I looked like the Bride of Frankenstein for about 5 months. And folks, I didn't care because I knew these molecules were going to kick into gear. And 5 months later, that's how good I looked. You can take it down again. And I only had 1 day of pain. And folks, look at me now, 5 years later. People hardly even notice what has happened to my face. I have fun with it. I'm the poster child for ASEA. You guys can use my images anytime you want. I wish I could collect a royalty on it, Laura, but that's not how this business works. But I have a lot of fun. We help a lot of people, and this company is so dynamic. I just love the leadership that we're around. I love every single aspect of it. And most of all, I love the friendships I've made and the time freedom. So that's a little summary of my story, Laura. What kind of questions do you have?
Does anybody have any questions for Barbara?
Would you like me to share some of my favorite testimonies?
Absolutely.
Okay. One of my favorite testimonies is during the pandemic, a friend of mine called from California, and she was an older lady, and she was like, Barbara, my husband's on the way to the hospital. He's ashen gray, and he was an older gentleman, and I could tell from her voice she didn't think he was going to make it. She's like, what should I do? And this is not from me. This was from, let's just say, from up there. I told her, I said, you just tell the doctor that you want him on 16 ounces a day. And she boldly went in with her bottle of ASEA and said, I want my husband on this 4 ounces 4 times a day. So the doctor looked at it and he kind of shrugged and said, well, can't hurt him. And they did what she asked. 6 days later, he was released. They wanted to put him in a rehab hospital. She's like, nope, we'll rehab him at home. And now they're the most vibrant couple ever. And that's one of my favorite stories. Um, Another story I have is I met a gentleman at an outdoor jazz festival, and I overheard him talking about needing hip replacement surgery. And I was like, I always carry my trusty little Renew 28 with me. And I'm like, would you be open to trying something natural that might help? He said, yes. So I told him to go in the restroom, apply a pea-size amount 3 times in 5 minutes on his hip. And he did. He came back, the concert was over, handed me my tube, and left. Well, the next morning I get a call from him. He's like, Barbara, my wife and I need to meet with you. My pain is gone. Can I take a shower first? I said, Ricky, please take a shower before you come see me. And yes, we can meet. So I met with them and I sat down with them and shared the science. I sat down and shared the testimonies. I shared some other information about the company. And they started as distributors that day because his wife got an experience right then and there too. And I said, Ricky, I know this is a big ask. I didn't know him. I hadn't even known him for 24 hours. I said, Ricky, I know this is a big ask. I said, would you be open to postponing your surgery for 90 days and using the liquid as we recommend and using the gel as needed? He goes, yes. So 90 days later, he calls me. He's like, Barb, I'm going back in for my reval. I'm like, great. I said, make sure they take another x-ray. Because in my belief, they probably wouldn't have, and they would have probably cut on him. And they took another x-ray. And a while later, the x-ray gets processed and looked at. And then the nurse comes in and says, your surgery's been canceled without any explanation. She turned around and walked out of the room. He never had to have that surgery. It might be a coincidence. I don't know. But I think it was probably the Redox helping out quite a bit. So those are a couple of my favorite stories. Um, I I work with um, Dr. Philippe Sylvester out of Canada. When he saw that picture that we put up about my face, he's a top trauma doctor. And he said, Barb, to get the results that you had with your face would have taken 1.5 to 2 with plastic surgery. Or I didn't have any plastic surgery. and I only had 1 day of pain. So those are some of my stories. I've got Dr. Marion Sides on the phone right now, and she has tons of wonderful testimonies, and we just love helping people and having a lot of fun and just making a lot of people happy.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Marion, did you want to chime in with any of your favorites?
I don't know if she's able to.
She's if she's here, she's muted. Well, she can chime in later if she'd like to. I love Dr. Philippe. So not only is he a doctor, he's an astronaut, right?
Um, he hasn't flown to the moon yet or any place, but he has been in the astronaut program, yes.
Awesome.
What I wanted to say, I started to say, instead of sharing testimonials, I want to share just one other aspect of our success in our team. We do a lot of team support. We do back and forth three-way calls, and it's really important when you have someone who is a potential client or potential associate, that you bring them on after they watch the video to a three-way call and let the other person share another aspect from their perspective. Three-way calls are excellent tools, and they help a lot to give another perspective to people who are not even skeptical, but just to have another person's voice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marion.
Thank
All
you.
righty.
Thank you.
Let's see.
Can I share how I use the product for
Go
this?
ahead. Yeah.
Okay, because a lot of people ask me that. I was drinking anywhere from 8 to 16 ounces of the liquid to help with the challenges on the inside. And then I was using the intensive serum directly on my scar. And then I used the Renew 28 for my bruising. And my bruising went all the way down to my chest, which kind of surprised me. And I was a different color each day. And my wardrobe does not go with me being yellow, but I made it.
Awesome.